I'm one of a kind, there ain't no one like me. So hard to find, it's the real damn thing. Don't be wasting any time, I got somewhere to be. Always on the grind, yeah, you know me. Hold the crown will be mine, you can call me king. A matter of time for you all love me. Finally at my prime, right where I wanna be. I'm one of a kind, there ain't no one like me. Put my money where my mouth is, I'ma get it now, kid. Heard around town, this sound is astounding. Feel my heart pounding, bass is surrounding. Think I finally found it, so I'm gonna mount it. Like an ex-girlfriend, I'ma get it back. Make a couple racks as I make a couple tracks. Stay on the attack as I'm writing every rap in a snapback. Blacks off this coke and this jack. Man, I feel good, dog, I feel good. Woke up a little richer, also with a little wood. If I could teach this shit, man, really wish I could. So listen up closely, I'll give you a push. I raise hell every time my lyrics pop off. I take shots at the haters with a sawed off. Girl, you better keep me up or I'll nod off. One shot, all I got, I will not stop. I'm one of a kind, there ain't no one like me. So hard to find, it's the real damn thing. Don't be wasting any time, I got somewhere to be. Always on the grind, yeah, you know me. Hold the crown will be mine, you can call me king. A matter of time for you all love me. Finally at my prime, right where I wanna be. I'm one of a kind, there ain't no one like me. Yeah, it's not enough, man, I want more. I keep on doing business, open every single door. I wanna be the richest, so you see me up on Forbes. I can do this through my music, that's how I even the score. I don't take it slow, man, I want it bad. Every single day, I'll be carving out a path. Like a girl with a tat on her back, all black. I'ma take her right back to my pad where it's at. I don't ever slack off, so you better back off. I'm about to blast off faster than NASA. Everybody stand up, put your fucking hands up. That's the demand, yup. Welcome to the brand, bruh. No, I'm not cautious, I take risks. And no, you can't stop this, I'm too slick. She knows that she wants it, so come quick, baby, know that I'm on it. I don't quit. I'm one of a kind, there ain't no one like me. So hard to find, it's the real damn thing. Don't be wasting any time, I got somewhere to be. Always on the grind, yeah, you know me. Hold the crown will be mine, you can call me king. A matter of time for you all love me. Finally at my prime, right where I wanna be. I'm one of a kind, there ain't no one like me. I'm one of a kind, there ain't no one like me. I'm one of a kind, there ain't no one like me. I'm one of a kind, there ain't no one like me. I'm one of a kind, there ain't no one like me. I'm one of a kind, there ain't no one like me. I work, I got vision, I don't need to see. I'm picking mind over matter, I believe in me. I need to find more hours in the day to breathe. Need to find more power in the way I be. And when my mind turns sour with the painful scenes, I need to scream out loud, I can't stop me. I wanna be the greatest like Rocky. You know I leave them all hating like a hobby. I'm out here making moves like a lobby. And if you ain't with me, it's your loss, see. I got my mind on the facts, I'm a python, grab what I like real fast. Choke until I have everything I attack, everything that I lack, everything that I want, and I see matter of fact. Cause I'm my own worst enemy. Only if I let it be. I can control anything if I can just think carefully. I control my
Welcome to my Mind Over Your Matter. My name is Rick. Go ahead and make this nice and big here. There we go. Let's turn on the cameras. Oh, man. I wasn't feeling good today. I was really contemplating whether to come on here tonight and talk. I was so comfortable in bed. I was like, nah, let me come up here and speak for a little bit because it's not good being in bed all the time. But today I was just not feeling good. And it is what it is. And we're here now live. So, hi, everyone. Let's see who's here. Give me 1 second. It's like a little roll call. Albie, Chloe. You guys got A's today. You got an A for making it here on time. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys very, very much. I don't have anything really set up. I was just, like I said, I think I know the reason why I feel like shit is because my doctor had me take the flu shot. Just because I am possibly going to be having surgery sometime maybe this year or maybe at the beginning of next year. I'm not sure yet. She's like, is be better safe than fucked up. I'm like, well, either way, you're gonna be fucked up. But I think that medicine they put in me fucked me up for some reason. And it's not only that, but my neck's been hurting a lot, and I just wasn't feeling good at all. Um, I don't know. It's the weather too, because we're changing the weather and we're getting to like fall-like conditions, but it's not really fall yet because like it's still warm up here. Um, it's been getting cool at night, but not like super cold like how it's going to be in the near future. I know it's going to be super cold this year. Um, I'm anticipating it. I listen. I don't mind it. The only thing that I don't like is if it's got too much heavy snow, because then you can't go anywhere. Really, you're like stuck. Um, but other than that, everything's like it is what it is. Fall. I mean, it's beautiful. The leaves are starting to turn. It's just a lighter green right now. It's not like the orange and yellows and reds. Not yet, but that's soon to come. It will be coming soon. Um, we could take a look at the tropic also because the tropics are starting to heat up. We do have several systems out there to look at, and let's see what's up with the chat. I added new items to my site today, right? Yay! More for me to look at. I already have a list on there. I'm just waiting for a little bit. Probably like next week, I'll probably put in the order. Yeah, it's just like I don't know. My neck is just really fucking me up. My doctor, when I spoke to her yesterday, she was like, "Yeah, you need to get back into physical therapy again." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know. I'm hustling. I'm trying everything I can to get this neck, the way it should be. And there's no way. There's something going on with my C7. So like, it's not. I can't pass that threshold. I'm like stuck. So." I spoke to my therapist. I spoke to two of my doctors, and all of them like you need to see the surgeon, and you're gonna have to have surgery to correct that. And I already know that's already a very big mountain to climb because it's not easy. The therapy is not easy. The recovery is not easy. If I was to have that type of surgery, I will be pretty much stuck in bed, stuck sitting on the couch. I have a recliner here, so I will find a way to continue to produce the show. Don't get it twisted. I will find ways to continue to produce. I just won't be nowhere near 100%. I'm not even near 100% now. But when I do have that surgery, I will be not good for sure. I will definitely gonna need help. Down the line, I'll have people maybe fill in for me, to fill in for the show and come on with me to help me out, because it's also hard to talk when you have that surgery. Um, just giving me flashbacks. Like PTSD is really bad. Um, all I remember was a lot of pain and a lot of sleeping and taking a lot of drugs to calm the pill down, like the chill pill I call it, which is like a strong medication, um, to kill the pain. And also they gave me like fentanyl patches to really kill the pain. Um, Man, but that took so long to recover, and it's still taking. I'm still what, going into 14 years now, approximately. Yeah, this year will be my 14th on October. So in a month from now will mark my 14-year anniversary from my injury. That's fucked up. I have an anniversary for my injury. That's crazy. All right, so I do have some videos to watch, and I would like to watch um, together. I do have a Tyson de la Cruz video, and I have some other videos here that we can watch together. So let's, before we go ahead and start the videos, let's get the medicine ready. We got the medicine. We got medicine. It's Friday night. Smells so good. You know, I would talk about my surgery, and I could be here all night talking about like what I went through and everything, but I don't think I want to do that on a Friday night. I don't want to be boohoo on a Friday because it's the weekend. Fuck you, neck. Fuck you, motherfucker. It's like you gotta like don't let it overtake you. You know, you gotta be resistant to the pain and all the fucking craziness that it makes you go through. But I'm gonna smoke. I hope you have yours ready. And with that said, let's go ahead and let's catch some news. Let's set this up. Let's go over here and let's watch.
As we continue to top stories and headlines, I want to show you what the Washington Post had the scoop on this exclusive, saying Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has ordered virtually all of the U.S. military's top commanders worldwide to gather on short notice and without a stated reason at a Marine Corps base in Virginia next week. So we want to continue to break that one down for you right here on Live Now from Fox. I want to bring in our next guest to help break it all down. This is Hal Kempfer, a national security analyst, a friend here of the program. Hal, thanks so much for joining us on Live Now. And I guess really the first question to you, Hal, is just who is all included here in this meeting? What are you learning here?
Well, Mike, it's interesting. There was a slight variance. First, it came out and said all general and flag officers worldwide.
Good.
That is a lot. There's over 800 general and flag officers around the world, and you know, we got everything from 4 stars, you know, in charge of major combatant commands worldwide, down to, you know, we got 1-star brigadier generals that are you know, permeated through staffs and everything else, and so it wasn't quite clear what it was. As of right now, there's 2 things. I saw one report that said everyone above the rank of 07, which is 1 star, which would be a rear admiral lower half, or it'd be a brigadier general. And then I heard that the brigadier generals and rear admirals lower halves might be included within that, but there seemed to be an exclusion for staff officers. So what it looks like is it's going to be all the general and flag officers in command positions. Now, I have a feeling we're going to see some more maybe expansive guidance on this, because, for example, if you have a carrier task force overseas, you would have a 1-star admiral would be in charge of that. I'm kind of skeptical that they'd want to redeploy all these admirals that are in, you know, 4 deployed positions in charge of you know, in sensitive parts of the world doing that. So But it's going to be huge. 800 generals and flag officers ascending on Marine Corps base Quantico. That's a base I've been stationed at. Let's just say my history with that base goes back a very, very long way. And that's also where FBI Academy is. And that's also where famous NCIS that has all the TV shows. That's where their headquarters is as well. And it's a big base, but with that many flag officers, and they said they're going to bring the normal assembly of people they have. Well, every general flag officer has at least one or more aides. They'll have, in many cases, personal security details, depending on who they are. They'll have a senior enlisted advisor coming in. So when you're talking about that, you can start multiplying that in terms of the people around them by 4, 5, 6, whatever number of people. And then the question is, well, where do they all stay? And you can say, well, they could all stay on base. There's not enough distinguished visitor quarters in Quantico or Northern Virginia to basically help, to deal with this. So you're going to see a lot of them staying at hotels in the area, and then they're going to have to work out all the security arrangements. And of course, for anybody out there who's a terrorist and wants to do a big strike, they're going to be looking at this as well, which the FBI is fully aware of, and is everybody else, and any other threats that could come. So you can imagine, this is, if you thought that what happened at Charlie Kirk's memorial service was a big security event, you can imagine what this is going to look like. Even though it's on a Marine Corps base, in a very secure facility, everybody's got to get to and from the facility. And then the question is, what are they going to do when they get there?
Yeah, no doubt about that. And Hal, so the position from the White House is saying, why is the media so interested in this and saying it's not that big of a deal? I want to show everyone the response from inside the Oval Office when President Trump was questioned on this, as well as the vice president. Let's show that, and then we'll get your reaction right here on Live Now.
Secretary Hangout is inviting military leaders from all around the country on Tuesday. Will you also be there?
From all around the country to what?
To Virginia. He's
inviting the generals and admirals to Virginia for a big meeting.
Well, I know. I love it. I mean, I think it's great. Let them be friendly. Let them be friendly with the generals and admirals from all over the world. Why is there something? No, but is there something wrong with it?
And what is it about? Will you be there personally as well? And what is it about?
Well, I'll be there if they want me, but why is that such a big deal? I mean, the fact that we're getting along with the generals and admirals from all. Remember, I'm the president of peace. It's good to get along. It's good. You act like this is a bad thing. Isn't it nice that people are coming from all over the world to be with us?
It's not particularly unusual that generals who report to the Secretary of War and then to the President of the United States are coming to speak with the Secretary of War. It's actually not unusual at all, and I think it's odd that you guys have made it into such a big story.
All right, Hal Kemper, what is your reaction to that? The White House saying, why are you so interested in this? It's good that we're doing peace and want everyone to get along.
Exactly.
Well, if I wanted to kind of parse the words, we haven't had a meeting like this with the Secretary of War since around a little after World War II, because we changed it to Secretary of Defense.
Yeah, so it's about time they do something like this. They need a meet.
It is unusual. What's unusual is that you would take that many general and flag officers away from their duty stations around the world.
Oh, come on. You're going to be bitching. Listen, it's a review.
To Quantico for some meeting.
They all need to come
usually in something, it's not unusual. For example, every year, all the combatant commanders, the 4-star combatant commands, the big regional commands, and things like U.S. Transportation Command, Cyber Command, stuff like that. All those generals will meet annually, and that's not unusual. But while they're gone, there's a deputy commander that's taking charge of things while they're gone. And having served in combatant commands, having served at what the Army would call corps level commands, or for the Marine Corps MEF level commands, 3-star commands, along with 2-star commands, and a plethora of 1-star commands, that usually, when the big boss is gone, you make sure that not everybody's there, that you have a certain, if the boss is gone, that the 4-star is gone, and the 3-star is there, or at least a 2-star is there, that can, quote, answer the mail, if you will, while they're gone, and make decisions and do those things that have to be done.
Yeah, it's not a big
But if you
deal.
start pulling all those folks out, that would be difficult. That's why I think there may be a provision there for staff.
They got
and
staff.
What I'm thinking they're doing is, for example, if you were the operations officer for, say, United States Central Command, all right, you would, and you're a general, you would stay there. as the operations officer. Maybe the chief of staff, who would also be a general officer, would stay there. So there would be some continuity in the command. If, for example, while they're all gone in Quantico, if something were to happen within their area of responsibility or something were to happen globally, there would be people there of sufficient rank status to basically move forward and keep things going. I mean, every command is going to find a way to keep things going, but you definitely want a few general and flag officers around. So I think they're going to try and do that. But this is big. I honestly, I can't recall, and maybe somebody out there, a historian, will correct me. I can't recall anything quite like this. And I certainly can't recall anything quite like this that happened in such short order, saying, hey, you're going to be back here next week. And I don't know what it is. You know, you wouldn't do, it seems less likely that they're bringing him back for a meet and greet, let's all be friendly and get to know each other sort of thing. Although, you know, it is on record, Secretary Hegseth has talked about reducing 4-star generals by 20%. Okay. And he's talked about reduction in general flag officer ranks across the board of significant numbers. That could be part of what they're going to talk about. But I have a feeling there's probably something a little bit more urgent that they want to talk about. Although I will tell you that within the military, you know, because of that thing about reducing general officers and flag general officers, there's a kind of a running narrative. They said it's going to be Squid Games for generals. All right, well, that's kind of amusing to say that, but it's not going to be Squid Games for generals, but it could be something where he wants to personally evaluate every general and admiral out there to figure out, you know, who he wants to keep. I mean, this may be, if he's making massive reductions, he may want to develop a personal rapport with all these generals and admirals to figure out who he actually wants to hold on to. That's, I wouldn't rule that out.
Yep.
So interesting. And Hal, if you had to, I guess, I mean, where would you lean?
I remember we used to get reviews every year.
Talking about, is it Russia? Is it more the Gaza situation? Do you think it's causing alarm here within the ranks?
If you're bringing them from all around the world, then it's got to be something with global import. And I think it may be that we're going to, you know, it may be that there's discussion about the global threat situation, and probably
let's set this guy up for a little bit. Let's bring it back to me. I was shuffling my tarot cards. Something told me to shuffle, right? And when I pop out the card, one card just flew out, and this is the card that flew out. The Two of Wands. And he's holding the world. And we're talking about the world. We're talking about the military. We're talking about these individuals that are traveling to Washington to meet, that Hegseth wants to meet in person. Like, this is something really freaking big. And yeah, I remember every year I get an evaluation, and then I remember I used to get a good valuations all the time with a raise, bitch. So what's the problem? What's the deal? Why are people so scared? Why? Listen, we're trying to hold people accountable, and if they're not fit to be 3-star, 4-star generals, bye-bye. We're not playing DEI in the military anymore. So you better come as your sex is, and no ma'am, yes sir, be very polite and very alert. Funny how the Two of Wands, I was shuffling. For some reason, I started just like shuffling my tarot cards, and this card just, as soon as they were talking there about the generals and all these people coming over to the Pentagon, this card just flew out. It flew out, and this is the Two of Wands, and you can't really see it, but right here, he's holding the world in his hands, and he's looking out. Like, this is something important that could be something that they need to talk about seriously, that it has to do with a lot of communications with a lot of people, you know, in the military. It's not like, oh, you just call one person and here, you know, everything happens. No, there's like a lot of people you got to call. Like, holy shit. There's so many people in the military. Let's see, we got this camera going back. Hey, Seven, how you doing, man? I'm here. I was just shuffling my cards when the story popped up, and I hate when the media, like, tries to be like, oh my God, this is the first time ever we have the military getting together and talking. Bitch, that's what they get paid to do. They have to go and report to Pete Hegseth. That's their boss, and not only that, but President Trump might pop up too. So, these generals better be on their best, because I tell you right now, they are going to reduce a lot of personnel in the military, and they're going to bring the younger up, and they're going to get rid of all the progressive liberal crap that's in the military, like the LGBTQ LMLPs. They're going to like, peace. And they're going to have to see their way out. But I hope you had a good day, Seven. It's Friday. We made it to the weekend. Yay! All right, let's continue on with some more news here. Where would I want to go here? Let's go with. I don't know what I want. I don't know what I want. Let's see. Oh, this is a good one. Let's check this one out. Give me 1 second to set it up. Let me make it nice and big for us. And let's watch what happened at the UN when Netanyahu shows up to talk and people just stood up and walked out. Wow.
With us here on Live Now from Fox. I'm your host, Christina Evans. We do want to continue on right now with our coverage of some of today's top stories. And as I was just explaining before we went to that 2-minute commercial break, one of the top headlines we're seeing today is the reaction after what appeared to be dozens of delegates walking out of the room of the General Assembly there at the United Nations as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu began his speech. This was at the time seemingly to signal widespread international disapproval. In fact, we have this post up there from the Associated Press saying that Netanyahu told his fellow world leaders on Friday that his nation, quote, must finish the job against Hamas in Gaza. And so to learn a lot more about what actually happened there in the room, I want to bring into the conversation now with the Associated Press reporter Farnoosh Amiri. She is the UN reporter covering this so closely. Farnoosh, thanks so much for being with us here on Live Now from Fox. Can you sort of explain what you witnessed there as Netanyahu walked up to give this speech, which led to dozens of delegates from many different nations deciding to walk out?
Yeah, it was many had expected some sort of protests, whether vocal or physical. There was obviously lots of protests happening around the UN, around Manhattan, as everyone had anticipated that Netanyahu would show up today. But it was really stunning. I mean, you saw dozens and dozens of delegates from more than 150 countries, step up, walk into the room, sit down, and then when he walked up to the rostrum to speak, to step up and walk out in mass. And it was just really the most stunning visual of Israel's isolation on the world stage as it continues to move forward with its offensive in Gaza, expanding that offensive, and it really is seeing itself really alone on the world stage with only the U.S. as its partner right now.
And Farnoosh, we have this post up from your X account talking about what you witnessed, saying diplomats who have attended the UN General Assembly for years say that they've never seen this hall so empty for the first speech of the day or seen a walkout like this one for Netanyahu. A few major delegations in attendance, including the U.S. and the U.K., did not send high-level officials to join them. Can I ask you to provide a little bit more context as to what you're seeing here? It's interesting to say it's the first speech of the day. It had to really set the tone there in the room.
Yeah, no, it was really stunning. Obviously, the UN General Assembly Hall is massive, and every single country has, country member state or observer state have their own sections where their delegations can sit and watch the speakers of the day. And I was keeping an eye on and, to see who was there, who wasn't there, and specifically who each country sent. Right? It's really shows the importance and how much
No,
value they
look
put
how they
into the
got up.
speaker,
Look, they're
depending
walking
on
away
what kind of high-level
like the
official
roaches
senior
that they are.
title they send to watch
Look at
that
this.
person speak. And even the US and the UK, who remained in the room while many left, did not send their
Wow.
UN ambassador to sit in that seat and watch Netanyahu speak. They
Yeah, look,
many of the
look,
people that
everybody's
were
leaving.
sitting in their sections for, two US, a US ally and the US, I did not recognize. And I see and deal with these
Wow.
ambassadors every day.
What
So
disrespect.
even if those who were present did not send their highest level individuals, and it just was a symbol for how much they are frustrated with this moment and frustrated with Netanyahu's handling of this war.
And Farnoosh, as we
Wow.
were just watching there, this is some playback so that way folks can sort of witness what you saw there in the room that happened a bit earlier today. There, I also noticed in the back of the video that there were some people standing and clapping. Can you sort of add context as to why that was happening simultaneously?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there were some delegations that stayed. Obviously, the clapping that you're seeing in that section on your screen right now is from the Israeli delegation. They obviously had a full group of folks, but they're clapping the people that are leaving. Israel, like Netanyahu said, is defiant in this war. They think that they're fighting the enemies of the rest of the developed world. So they feel frustrated that they're even facing any criticism or facing any pushback. And then what you would have heard is cheering and clapping from above, which is the galleries. And those are where delegations can bring their guests and their families and friends and individuals. Obviously, New York City Mayor Eric Adams was spotted by other reporters on the General Assembly Hall. So this was, really notable to see who was standing by Israel and who was boycotting what they were doing.
And so we're taking a live look there in the lobby where we've seen several of these world leaders going up and down the escalator. Of course, President Trump talked a lot about that escalator earlier this week. So still taking a live vantage point there in New York as well. But ultimately, Farnoosh, I want to also dive into what Netanyahu said during that speech. We know that he delivered a pretty forceful address insisting that Israel must, quote, finish the job against Hamas. They're defending their actions there in Gaza as well. Can you explain to us a little bit more about what he actually said there in this speech, as this has been a very controversial topic, as a lot of people are focused there on the Middle East and the conflict and the ensuing humanitarian situation that's been
Listen,
happening
they
there
did
in
the same
Gaza
to
Strip.
Jesus. So
Yeah, I think many people were, some of Israel's allies and even friends, like Germany and the UK were hoping to hear, something from the prime minister that reflected what was happening in the entire world. It was just, as you mentioned at the top of your show, which is an international condemnation for what Israel's doing. But that was not what we heard, right? The prime minister doubled down on what the Israeli Defense Forces are doing in Gaza, about the actions they're planning on taking in the West Bank. And what you saw was a defiance. So you saw someone who was, condoning the fact that many countries have decided to recognize Palestine. Many countries have decided to support the Palestinian people and to condemn Israel. And there was a lot of frustration from the prime minister on people making those, symbolic gestures, and even for making more public condemnations of Israel's handling of the war. So it was an interesting and really, really important speech that many people were hoping would give some indication of an end to this conflict, but it definitely did not.
And so as we're looking ahead, I have to ask you, Farnoosh, where do you see us going from here, especially as it pertains to Netanyahu deciding to give that sort of speech? Are we still going to continue to hear from other nations the remainder of today and looking ahead in their response to, again, many formally for the first time there at the UN deciding to recognize Palestinian statehood?
Yeah, no, I mean, if you have been listening, like I have since Tuesday morning when the president of Brazil started speaking till today, and these speeches will continue on into the weekend, nearly every single member from, the 190 member states of the UN have mentioned the issue and the war in Gaza. They've talked about the suffering of the Palestinians. They've obviously condemned the October 7th attack by Hamas, but they've really much have been focusing their attention and their words and their actions on what Israel is doing in Gaza and the impact that that's having on civilians. So it is the biggest topic of this UN General Assembly, and it will continue to be for the rest of the week. Tomorrow, the big headliner for the UN is going to be the Russian foreign minister, who is expected to make very similar remarks. They have been very vocal about Israel's war and what that has done to Palestinians. So we're going to continue to see that. And as far as Netanyahu, he is planning on leaving New York to go to DC on Sunday. He will meet with President Donald Trump Monday morning at the White House, and many are expecting and anticipating that there's potentially going to be a deal. The president hinted at that today. There's potentially going to be a deal on Gaza and the hostage release, potentially after the meeting with Netanyahu on Monday.
So much to still look forward to, and we certainly appreciate Farnoosh Amiri there, the Associated Press reporter who's been covering really every angle there at the United Nations, as all of those delegates are in the U.S. this week. We appreciate you for joining us here on Live Now from Fox to add some context to all of the headlines that have sparked since this walkout.
Yeah, thanks so much.
All right, wanted to make sure we got that story in for you here on Live Now from Fox. What we're going to do is take this time to slide away for a quick 2-minute commercial break. On the other side, much more from today's top stories. But before we go, want to slide this up on your screen. This is a post that we had there from Netanyahu responding after this. He said, here's where things stand today. Half of the Houthi leadership in Yemen, gone. Yahya Sinwar in Gaza, gone. Hassan Nasrallah, excuse my pronunciation here, in Lebanon, gone. The Assad regime in Syria, gone. Those militias in Iraq, well, they're still deterred, and their leaders, if they attack Israel, will also be gone. And for Iran's top military commanders, its top nuclear scientists, well, they're gone too. And so, again, very powerful words there from Benjamin Netanyahu. We just heard a little bit more there from the Associated Press.
Yeah, but then what's okay? Let's bring it to me. So, okay, all these people are gone, right? But we're still fighting a fucking war out there. But all these people are gone. But you're still fighting a war. Doesn't matter who's gone. Next man up. That's how it's always been. Next man up. You know? And are they ever gonna rid of Hamas? No. They're not. Impossible. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. It's like, okay, so you destroy their city, bulldoze everything, start from scratch. How long that's gonna take? And then how are these people gonna make money for themselves to support their family and feed their family and shelter their family? And that's a lot of people that are exiting. Like, where are these people going? You know what I mean? And then Israel is gonna take Gaza, and they want Gaza part of Israel. I always felt Gaza was part of Israel. I just don't understood. I never understand why the Palestinians had it. To me, I never understood that. But it is what it is. The world wants to recognize the Palestine as a state. Netanyahu doesn't. Israel doesn't. The United States doesn't. They're not going to recognize them as a state because they know there's a lot of terrorists, a lot of shit going on in Palestine. But what are you going to do? You're going to push them away? So they're going to wreak havoc and terror elsewhere? So I don't. What's the solution? What do we do with these? How do we handle these people? And then what we're gonna do with Gaza? Yeah, they're gonna rebuild it, right? And they're gonna make it beautiful and all this, whatever they want to do. But there's something more to it. There's more to it. Because, they keep going, October 7, remember October 7. Okay, well, what are you trying to tell me? What happened? Well, I know what happened. A lot of people got killed, yeah. But who was doing the killing? I don't know. And a lot of people were taken hostage. Okay. My thing is like, why was your defenses weak that day on October 7th? Why were you not monitoring your borders with Palestinians, and why, oh why, that you failed at the most important thing of all, your security around your borders? And you failed very badly, and they took all these people, and now you want to turn it around and be like, oh, they're the bad ones, they're the bad ones, yeah, let's blame it on them. But let's not blame it on us, because our security was very lax and we didn't have eyes on that area. But no, it's not our fault. They just came in and got the people. They wouldn't have came in if we had fucking, more eyes on that border. If you had a proper border with surveillance, and able to look up and look at the skies and know you have intrusion coming through, I can't like not blame Israel for that. With the amount of money that they get from the US and the amount of money they get for the weapons and all that stuff, like, it's no reason these motherfuckers just came across, la 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 la, and did what they did. It just makes me mad. That's all it does, because these people, innocent people, are dying. The Palestinians are dying. Like, they're just, the food is very scarce. It's just not good times right now. It's just, we're not in good times. Give me a second. I'm just looking at. I see. Let me see if we can watch this. Give me 1 second. Let me set it up. I want us to check out the weather. This is very important, ladies and gentlemen. If you're in the East Coast, anywhere from Jacksonville all the way up to like North Carolina, down like the Cape, you guys need to keep an eye out on this storm. I think this is going to be one that is going to be very scary. I think it's going to have a chance to rapidly develop, like a rapid development, like it's going to rapidly develop. And it gives me reminders like of like really strong hurricanes. Um, this one could be possibly like a Cat 2, maybe Cat 3 on arrival. You gotta understand that Gulf Stream is just pumping out hot water, and it's very humid down there. And the storm, it don't need much to get activated and get its act together, and then start its formation and become. I've seen hurricanes develop super fucking fast. I remember when fucking Katrina was just a depression and coming downwards, and all of a sudden that bitch got the Gulf Stream and rapidly developed into a Category 1 hurricane. I was fucking working that day, and I have the hospital calling me, "Hey, we need you here at the hospital. We're going on lockdown, and we need you for you to come." I'm like, fuck. Like, I'm like, yo, I'm still at work because I had a daytime job. So I was like, I'm still at work. I will report when I get there, but I'll be there tonight. It's like, okay, we'll see you here. We're going to do alternate shifts. We're going to do 12 on, 12 off, but we're going to do in 6-hour shifts. So that way everyone rotates all around, because we couldn't leave. We had to stay in the hospital. We slept in the hospital. Yeah, I have my own little room in there, and I slept in there, and creepy as fuck too. I didn't like that room, and because like we were like it was like a few of us in the room, right? But we were quiet, you know. We were okay, but it's just something was creepy about that motherfucking room in the hospital. I didn't like it. I didn't like it, but let me see. What am I gonna watch? Let's watch the Tropics because this is. I think. Listen, if it goes to like South Carolina, North Carolina area, that's gonna be very, and maybe Jacksonville. You never know. It could probably sneak in and go right into Jacksonville as a strong hurricane. That would be very not good, you know. But this storm is gonna have an opportunity to get its act together, and like I told you, the it's prime area. It's low shear. The system's gonna get its act together really fucking quick. I hope it doesn't bomb out. I hope it doesn't just go like steroids. Like it's like when it gets that hot water, it's like fucking steroids to a system, and it just starts developing and getting its act together, and it starts twirling, and you get a Category 5 hurricane. You know, lately that's all we've been getting as hurricanes this season. You know, we got a Category 3 hurricane, a major hurricane right now, and Humberto. That's a Category 3 hurricane, and then. You know, let's see what's up. Let's check out the weather together. That sounded nice. Let's check out the weather together.
Now to turn our focus back to the forecast.
My first warning, Chief Meteorologist Tony Manalfi back with a look at the weekend and the tropics. Tony.
Yeah, a lot going on. I know folks are just getting home, and I wanted just to pass along the most important piece of information we can do, and that's to let you know that Invest 94 is now potential tropical cyclone 9. There's no change in the intensity or anything like that. Winds are at 35. The reason why this was issued is because this is getting awfully close to the United States, and we're very confident that this will either be a tropical depression.
I think it's going to bomb.
Stormy Melda very shortly, then become a hurricane.
How strong?
Passing off towards our east. But why give it this name? So that we can
maybe
give you a
Cat
cone
4?
and we can give you those advisories.
Cat 3, maybe?
Storm watches and warnings in the Bahamas.
Going to South Carolina?
Spend the time here closer to home. Friday night football, there are some showers and storms out there.
I can feel
temperatures
it.
Are all
I feel
over
like
the
a
place.
natural
If it's
disaster.
raining, you're in the 70s.
It's going to cost.
If it's not raining, you're still
you know,
in the
we're going to put
90s. That's a la,
this is
the
a
I-4
great
corridor
test
there, and we've got some pretty potent storms
it's a
right now,
test.
pushing through Flagler Beach, approaching Ormond by the Sea, Ormond Beach.
Listen,
Daytona
this
Beach,
area needs to
1-2
watch
punch
out
here.
because
and the rainfall rates
system could
today,
come
I've
close
got to
to
tell
them.
you, incredibly impressive. We had 4.5 inches of rain up in Marion County. First advisory.
Whole weather. I
and
want
we've
to
had close to 3 inches in parts there of Flagler County. So these storms today in a very short period of time.
Daytona Beach,
Sula, over towards New Smyrna Beach.
New Smyrna Beach.
There.
My sister lives over
You
here.
can see the outflow
in this
from
area.
Storms pressing off towards the east and helping to develop some more showers and storms. So we'll watch that for Foot Bay. We've had a couple showers in and around your area. All of this will push off the coast now, we do believe, by the time we get to the 9 o'clock hour. So football games on the eastern side of the peninsula may have some issues with some rain and a little bit of thunder and lightning, especially in Brevard.
But it's going to stall, and high pressures forming behind it.
Shape. The front,
so
the front,
this storm doesn't have
We've
a
been
way
talking this
to
like
out.
crazy all week. Will it be enough and safely away? The answer is probably yes, but there's going to be some fringe effects on the western side here of Imelda. That's going to mean some gusty winds and some squalls from time to time, and those heavier rain bands that will scrape.
All right, let's go to the
now have
hurricane.
Our third major hurricane.
It went to 3.
Really crank it up tonight. And then look at the massive showers and storms here in association with potential tropical cyclone 9.
I think this is going to be at least a Category 3, maybe
Bahamas, and then later on, I wouldn't be surprised
if it rapidly develops tonight
up towards Georgia south and potentially even
if I
North
wake
Carolina.
Up tomorrow morning.
The yellow is the latest tropical model consensus.
Well,
and it's kind of pushed back a little bit to the east by about 30 to 40 miles with the afternoon runs. Wave action beginning to pick up near both of these particular features here. And that means the surf is going to grow here along the coast. Late Sunday night, more specifically though, into Sunday and Monday. We've bumped up the rainfall
And this
chances
was a
with the latest
quiet
models,
hurricane
and we've
season.
crept up a little bit more in the winds.
So
10 to
much for
20
it being
sustained,
quiet.
30 to 40 in any gusts that were to approach the coast there as we
Are
head
we
into
done with
Sunday
you?
night, Monday. And
We got
speaking
some
of Sunday
more.
night,
Here,
Monday,
he's gonna show
wave
some
action
more.
really picking up and staying with us
Here it is,
as we
look.
get you on into
Humberto.
Tuesday afternoon. Real quickly, here's Humberto. Again, a major hurricane that is going to
150
scrape
mile
just
per hour
to the
winds
north and
already.
west of Bermuda.
That was
as
going
we
to be
get
a
into
Cat
the
5.
weekend. Let me show you the updated 7-day forecast.
I don't care about your forecast anymore. All right, let's go over to my weather. I do a better job of the weather, you weatherman. Okay, here we go. Humberto looks more stronger than a category 150, like 150 mile per hour winds. Bullshit. I call this like 130, 135. Maybe when I wake up in the morning, probably it's going to be around 130. And it looks like a fucking Dunkin' Donut. Okay. Look at that eye. And look at the symmetric, like it's so symmetric. It looks like a buzzsaw, right? It looks like a fucking buzzsaw. That's a fucking killer. That it's definitely gonna be a category 5. Now you got over here, I don't know, like it's starting to develop. This is a potential tropical system 9 that Hamilda is gonna be named. I'm looking real close right here, and I'm seeing really strong development right in here. Like there's very tall cloud tops. Like you see the whites. That's very tall. Okay. The center is right around here, like right around here, and it's starting to blow up around the center of the system. Oh Lord, this is not going to be good. These people have this weekend to get ready. If you know anybody in South Carolina and southern North Carolina, especially the Cape, let them know. Even in Georgia, like Savannah area too. This is going to be bad. It's going to be really bad if it goes to Myrtle Beach. This is going to be a really bad system. I'm telling you, I'm looking at it. Look at, okay, this is high pressure right here. You see this right here? You see this rotation that's going clockwise right here? That's high pressure. This is a front right here. So this front is pushing moisture upwards, but it's making the atmosphere more conducive, meaning there's more moisture, more popping. Look at the thunderstorms off on the coast. Look how they're exploding. Look at that. And it's 8:55 at night, and these storms are actively like developing, and this is gonna stall here. This is not gonna push. Like it's too early in the season for a cold front to pass all the way down to capture these systems and turn them to the right and send them off to Europe. I'm sorry, Europe. But they're not that strong when they go over there, but it does get very windy. Look at this. Look at Humberto. Look at the feeder band here, and look at the pool. And that's because the high pressure is not letting it go north. So when it's not letting it go north, because it's like a block, this is like you ain't passing this. It's high pressure. You're low pressure. You're not. It's like oil and water. It's not. It's not gonna mix. So you're getting the pancake effect on the north side. You don't see this much. The last time I saw something like this, when it did this, was Hurricane Andrew back in '92. That Hurricane Andrew was supposed to go up a little bit to the north, but then the high pressure developed stronger, and it pushed the system straight into Florida, and it went right through here and went to Kendall and went past through the Everglades and then went into the Gulf and landed in Louisiana, I believe, as a category 3, I believe it hit them, but it hit Florida as a category 5. So is this storm going to be the overachiever that it rapidly develops? Hey, listen, if you would have told me if this was July, I would tell you no, right? But this is September, and we're talking about the end of September. We're just finishing summer, and summer's not even finished down here. It's fucking hot down here and very humid. And the fact that you got all these like oh man, this is not gonna be good. This is not gonna be good. Bermuda needs to be on a big time watch too, because they need to worry about Humberto. Because Humberto is going to come up this way and it's going to follow up through here and it's going to try to get close to this system, the potential 9 here. Isabel, what's it? It's going to be called. I forgot the name of it already. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I have it here. I doubt it because it's not even named yet. So I can, you know what? Let me see if I can pull up a news feed on the weather. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I could. I'll find something. I could do it. I could find it. Oh boy, let me see if we have something like. I want something recent. What time is this? It should be the 9 o'clock coming up. The update should be coming up. But from what I see in the radar, it's still not. Let me see if they have a new. Give me 1 sec. Let me find it. Let's see. Do we have anything new? There is a new one here. That was like. Give me 1 sec. All right, 15 minutes ago. All right, let's check this out because this is from the fucking Weather Channel. Let's get it from the Weather Channel, from the mouth, the experts, the ones that you really should be trusting because these motherfuckers, they know. And I'm afraid that this hurricane is going to be very freaking strong, like very, very strong. We do have Jason A. Also, a video from Jason A. Wow, we're getting like the good videos are starting to pop up now. Oh, I'm liking this. I'm liking this. Hey, the show's gonna keep going. We still got like an hour and 20 minutes to go. So, like, hold on a second. We got a couple of Jason A's to watch. It's the night's still young and the news is still going, and we're getting a lot of news here. So, oh Lord, we definitely got to hear our vice president. I like JD Vance. He's a good dude. He's funny. He's real funny. All right, let's go ahead and get to the weather. Give me 1 second to set it up. Let me set them all up because I want to be able to have everything all ready for us to watch, and I have to resize them. So give me 1 sec. And we're gonna watch some really good videos, like back to back to back. Like I got good videos coming up. I haven't seen them. Like I said, I'm watching for the first time with you guys. That's how the show is right now. Give me 1 second. I'm pulling everything up right now. I'm getting rid of a couple of windows. We still got Tyson De La Cruz. And let's see. We're going to come over here. We're going to watch the weather. We're going to come right here. Let's start this one.
Dr. Nab, the steering of what is we expect to be Imelda is very complicated.
Yeah, it is definitely going to be brought northward, but then could that northward motion ahead of our eastern U.S. trough be slowed down by Humberto when it gets closer? That is the big interplay that is making this such a tough forecast. Let's take a look at the models. The colors are the low-level spin, the white lines are the main mid-level steering, and those dash white lines are the upper-level outflow. And here it comes northward. There's no doubt about that because Umberto is still pretty distant. You got your subtropical high, you got your trough over the eastern U.S. Here is that path northward. No surprise over the weekend, but Mike, after Sunday, it gets a little more dicey.
Okay, so coming northbound, maybe even a slight jog to the west here. You know, every few miles matters in a situation like this. Once we get to Tuesday, it might put on the brakes here at the coastline.
It might. That's the big question. The Euro model, the main run, brings it to the coast by Tuesday morning, but that's just one run of the Euro. Looking at the Sunday, Monday, Tuesday timeframe, watch the uncertainty in the Euro. So here is Sunday morning, pretty good agreement. It's still going to be over the Bahamas. Let's go to Monday. And the uncertainty gets much higher in
There's
just that 24 hours.
A lot of spread here north to south.
Yeah, some bring it quickly toward the coastline, which is why you need to prepare this weekend in case it gets to the coast faster. But some of the possibilities are, it's still lingering over the Bahamas and everything in between, because the closer Umberto gets, the weaker the steering currents could get. But now let's get to Tuesday morning, which is that same time that the main Euro run shows essentially a landfall. Some of the possibilities are it's already inland. Some of the possibilities are it's lingering right near the coast, and there's still a couple of possibilities where it's still
trying to jump up to reach the top.
So it's hard to say with any precision what could be happening. Wednesday is even a bigger mess.
Yeah, and that is a time frame when it could still be lingering offshore, it could still be lingering on land, or it has made landfall and it is looping back offshore, lingering near the coast. So
man,
we don't have
that's
to
bad.
obsess too much about when landfall of the center occurs. If it is moving slowly, centered just offshore, just inland, or right on the coast, that's a problem if it's close to the coast. And the chances of that are pretty high.
The rainfall is going to be about the same in either scenario. Maybe it changes the algebra here for maybe beach erosion or storm surge, but you know, it's six half dozen the other, right?
Yeah, and how far inland it goes definitely affects, you know, western parts of the Carolinas. But picking up the Euro into Tuesday night, look at how it loops around right near the coast, onshore, back offshore, onshore, back offshore. That's a long duration event. Pack your patience for the possibility that once it does arrive, you could have to be hunkering down for days.
Is that a
major flooding
event maybe that hangs out on top of you, knowing that that could be a possibility? I think people be underestimating how bad the rain could end up being?
Yes, this could be an absolutely horrific rainfall-induced flood event if it hangs around near the coast.
Like what happened with Helene?
Possibility. But as Umberto and future Imelda are closest together in the Monday, Tuesday time frame, that's the most uncertain time frame in terms of what the forward speed of future Imelda is going to be.
Imelda?
Case in point, let's look at the GFS. And these are the rainfall differences, because to your point, Mike,
holy shit, they're going to get hit.
Run is right,
a lot of rain.
Rainfall for all the Carolinas. If the GFS is right, it's a rainfall problem, but it's much closer to the coast. But that's only in the main GFS run. Now watch the previous GFS
out.
And watch the changes in these runs. Previous GFS comes to the coast Tuesday morning, hangs around
category
right
2
near
hurricane?
the coast for days. The latest GFS, however,
maybe a Cat 3 hurricane.
Different.
You never know.
But only subtly different. It gets near the coast by Tuesday morning and then hangs out near the coast for about a day and then goes offshore. That's still a storm surge wind and rain problem even without landfall.
But, you know, there's small changes. I mean, there's not a huge difference in distance between the two of those, but there might be a huge difference what the outcome is of those two things.
Yes, and those are only two possible GFS outcomes. Look at the ensembles. Some make landfall by Monday night. Some linger over land into Tuesday. Some haven't come ashore, and some go on land and back offshore. Could be here. It could be here. Could be near the coast. So there's a lot to digest there, but to boil it down to what it matters to people, be prepared and done by Monday for the possibility that the conditions start to affect you then. But then get ready for the possibility that it takes a while to come ashore, or once it does, it hangs around for a while.
Once we get a close low, we get Imelda, do you think that potentially makes the forecast a little clearer, or it could still be, you know, at odds.
I think it will help a little bit, and so will all the data from the aircraft, but there will still be uncertainty because of the presence of Umberto.
All right.
Wow, that's wild. I'll tell you right now, that's crazy. All right, let's go to Jason A. Let's watch some here.
News, there were suspicious drones flying over airports in Denmark last night. The unexplained activity has raised concerns about security in Northern Europe.
I've been briefed on the latest alleged drone incursion into Denmark. What do you think of that? And where are they? Into Denmark, Copenhagen. Denmark is saying that there are some drones that shut down the airport, possibly Russian sabotage. What's your response to that? Will the U.S. have a material?
Well, I have no response until I find out exactly what happened. I know about it, but they don't know what happened. But we're going to find out very soon.
Drones have forced Danish airports to shut down for the second time in under a week. So what is going on, and who might be responsible?
I mean, the whole situation right now is sort of unsettling in the sense that so many world leaders are talking about a rather big conflict and World War III and I don't know what. But honestly, I don't think it helps to escalate the situation by accusing the Russians of, oh, it's probably the Russians attacking. We don't really know that yet. I haven't seen any evidence that it is the Russians who are attacking by sending drones.
Denmark has in recent days been subjected to hybrid attacks. Drones have been seen in several places, at critical infrastructure, military and civilian. These are attacks that we must expect. There may be more of them, and they are attacks that have shown vulnerabilities, and these are attacks that are intended to create insecurity and division. These are attacks that should shake us, as people and as a society.
An unidentified flying object of decidedly terrestrial origin lights up the night sky over Aalborg Airport in northern Denmark, forcing several flights to be diverted as the airport, which also serves as a Danish Air Force base, was shut down for hours. Similar incidents were reported at 3 other smaller Danish airports in the country's south, though they were able to remain open. Speaking to France 24 just hours earlier, French President Emmanuel Macron called for a stronger response to incursions into European airspace, calling out Russia specifically.
We must strengthen our posture by committing more resources. If there are new provocations, we should escalate our response, as it would mean that Russia has chosen to escalate. The security of Europe is at stake.
Europe is on edge after NATO members Poland, Romania, and Estonia all accused Russia of violating their airspace with drones or fighter jets in recent days. Moscow has denied responsibility. Wednesday's incidents mark the second time this week that unauthorized drone activity has disrupted traffic at Scandinavian airports. On Monday, the airports of Copenhagen and Oslo were paralyzed for hours after large drones were spotted flying over them. Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen calling it the most serious attack on Danish critical infrastructure to date.
First of all, I have no real idea about who these drones really belong to. And I'm not sure whether it's a Russian attack, which seems to be the popular version of the story. Maybe it's just some fools playing around with some rather big drones. I don't.
Huh. Very suspicious. That's wild.
Things can always happen when you travel. Flights can get canceled, there can be a storm, a volcano, anything can happen. So I don't think I would ever, adjust my plans or avoid making the plans just because of something like this.
Listen, I told you guys
Denmark look to try and respond to this latest incursion into their airspace. The Justice Minister also saying the threat of hybrid attacks is here to stay. So still not quite getting to the point where Denmark are apportioning blame for this event. Of course, Russia were blamed for that incursion into Danish and Norwegian airspace earlier this week, where the Copenhagen airport, as well as the airport in Oslo, were closed down. But Denmark saying that there is no doubt this was done by professional action. In just the last few minutes, the National Police of Denmark have also said there were also events at military facilities. We know that there is a military base in Aalborg, Danish military base there, and the police now saying that there were events.
And these people could have drones
to what those events may well have been at military facilities. So those drones that close Aalborg Airport for a number of hours overnight, concerning, of course, for many people in Denmark, and not least the fact that Denmark are a NATO member state. And just yesterday at the UN General Assembly, President Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine was warning that Russia will be expanding its hybrid war with the use of drones across Europe. Well, let's bring in now a thought from the opposition. Nick Timothy can join us now live. This morning. Nick Timothy, thanks so much for being with us. I do appreciate making the time. I just want to speak up first of all on that news that we've just had there from Denmark, the Justice and Defence Minister saying that this was done by a professional actor, and there being a fear in Denmark, as well as I'm sure many other NATO member states, that this kind of drone activity from Russia will continue.
Yeah, we live with a serious threat, and actually quite a complex and sometimes confusing threat. And the Danish government said in your clip that this was a hybrid threat. And I think the clear implication of that is that they might suspect that Russia is involved. I have 2 Air Force bases in my constituency in Suffolk, and we had incidents with drones quite recently. And they're difficult to defend against. So it's an important reminder of the kind of threats we face, but also the need to make sure that our defence is equipped to deal with the kind of modern threats that come our way, and that does mean we're going to need to invest in our defence and the technologies that enable it.
Well, Nick, the Justice Minister there said that Denmark are going to look to invest in more technology around that critical infrastructure, airports and military bases to bring down drones. You say there are 2 Air Force bases in your constituency. Is there enough defensive infrastructure around those bases in your understanding?
Well, it's something that the Ministry of Defence and the British military and the Americans who actually operate from the bases here in Suffolk are working on. It's difficult because it's a new challenge, and drone technologies do pose new difficulties in terms of defence, but that is something where they're working to improve capabilities all the time.
And several weeks after more recent incursions as well in Estonia, Romania, as well as Poland, are authorities confirming any links between these different events?
Well, at the moment, investigators are saying that this seems to have been an incident conducted by professional actors, as they put it. But of course, as you rightly mentioned, plenty of similarities to what we saw on Monday that saw Denmark's biggest airport in Copenhagen, as well as in neighbouring Norway in Oslo, their major airport shut down as well on Monday for several hours. Now, this is sparking huge concerns in Denmark. We've heard from Mette Frederiksen, the country's prime minister. She's in conversations with the NATO military alliance. She says she wants to work with them when it comes to safety and security. That is a route we've seen Estonia take in recent weeks, calling for Article 4 of NATO, essentially calling for discussions on these very topics. So this is certainly an issue that the NATO military alliance is taking very seriously indeed. We've seen the mobilization of the so-called Eastern Sentry, essentially more of a deployment of defensive posturing from the military alliance to nations on Europe's eastern flank, bordering the likes of Russia and Belarus, following, as you mentioned, these incursions into places like Poland, Romania, as well as Estonia. Now, as far as the EU is concerned, well, on Friday, they're holding a virtual meeting to discuss what is being described as a drone war. How can the EU boost its own defenses from these kinds of hybrid threats? They say this will focus on 2 points. The first, detection of these types of drones. The second, what to do when they're in the air, how to effectively respond.
The response from European leaders has been sharp. Poland's foreign minister has issued a warning. He says if another missile or jet enters, it could be shot down. The message is clear. NATO leaders are prepared to deliver a tougher response. President Trump has weighed in as well. He was asked about the issue when he met with Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky. And Trump said NATO should shoot down Russian aircraft if they enter their airspace.
Do you think that NATO countries should shoot down Russian aircraft if they enter their airspace?
Yes, I do.
However, NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte was more cautious. He said each incident must be assessed based on intent
That's why
and
Trump
risk.
is the man.
The
And this guy,
divide shows how complex this crisis is. Drones in Denmark are not just a local issue. They fit a pattern of hybrid warfare. Russia has been accused of cyber attacks, espionage, and election meddling. Now drones and jet incursions are testing NATO's defenses. Denmark is even considering invoking NATO's Article 4. Now, what is Article 4? If Article 4 is invoked, NATO members meet for formal consultations on a security threat. Poland used the same clause after drone attacks this month, so Denmark could go down the same path. But how far will NATO go? Will it begin shooting drones out of the sky?
Vladimir Putin's spokesman denies any Russian involvement in the airport closures in Denmark and Norway, which led to more than 60 flights like these being diverted and around 120 flights canceled, according to the Flight Radar 24 tracker. Today, this drone jammer deployed at Copenhagen Airport as the escalation continues in Europe's increasingly dangerous skies.
Raf Sanchez joins us tonight from London. Raf, you mentioned these multiple incidents where Russia is alleged to have violated NATO airspace, both with drones and fighter aircraft. We've been covering that here on Top Story. What does NATO think is going on here?
So, Tom, the European allies from Poland to Estonia to the UK are pretty clear. They believe that these have been deliberate acts by the Russians, some combination of Vladimir Putin being provocative, showing his dominance, but also Russia probing European air defenses, seeing where the weaknesses are, seeing what the reaction is from NATO. But it's notable the Trump administration has been a lot less clear. They have suggested it's possible that these were accidents, these were unintentional, and it's been very difficult for NATO to coordinate a response when they don't have a consensus on what exactly Russia's intentions are.
wow. Let's watch another Jason A here.
Post is reporting Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has ordered hundreds of the U.S. military's generals and admirals to gather at Marine Corps Base Quantico next week. The directive was sent to virtually all of the military's top commanders worldwide. Now, there are no details about what will be discussed at that meeting, which is expected to take place September 30th, the same day as the government shutdown deadline.
Aside from the fact that this is a very highly unusual meeting to bring this many generals together, all on relatively short notice.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the job security, that portion of it. I mean, the timing is very suspicious and unique. September 30th, also the deadline for the government shutdown. It doesn't seem like we can necessarily read too much into that, but is there any precedent for a gathering of this nature where there's so much unknown?
I hesitated to use unprecedented in a story, but in talking to more than a dozen sources, nobody we talked to had ever heard of anything like this in their 35-year careers. It really is rare.
Now, do you suspect that we, as in us, the media, is unclear about why this meeting is being called, but the generals have a better understanding, or do you think they're in the dark too?
the generals are in the dark too. I'm assuming Secretary Hegseth's team knows what the plan is. But I mean, when you've got 2 and 3 and 4-star generals and admirals who are making travel accommodations without clarity on what they're traveling for, that's certainly unusual.
The Pentagon has provided very little detail about this meeting, but CBS News senior national security correspondent Charlie Daggett tells us it's a rare event, if not unprecedented move.
CBS News has learned that Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has directed numerous generals and admirals, as well as some of their staff from around the world, to come to the Marine base in Quantico, Virginia next week. I can tell you that a meeting of that size on such short notice is extremely rare, if not unprecedented. So there are roughly 800 generals and admirals across the armed services. It's not clear how many have been summoned to come to this meeting or even why. But there are many that are currently stationed in active war zone regions, places like the Middle East, Africa, and Europe. And there are also questions as to why the secretary is having this in person rather than a secured video conference, as was usually done in the past.
Because
aside from the obvious security risks of having all that top brass in one place at one time, it's going to cost a lot of money to fly them in from all over the world.
President Trump was asked about the meeting, but perhaps misunderstanding the question or unaware of the Hegseth meeting, he seemed to think it was foreign generals who were coming to meet Hegseth.
Well, I know. I love it. I mean, I think it's great. Let him be friendly. Let him be friendly with the generals and admirals from all over the world. Why is there something? No, but is there something wrong with it?
Vice President Vance stepping in.
It's not particularly unusual that generals who report to the Secretary of War and then to the President of the United States are coming to speak with the Secretary of War.
But there has not been a meeting quite like this one, and it has created apprehension among senior officers. Last May, Hegseth ordering at least a 20% reduction in the number of 4-star generals and admirals across the active duty force.
I think that's more than fair enough, Greg, considering that the Danish authorities have said they literally have no idea who might be behind what's happened there in Copenhagen. All they've said is that a capable actor must be responsible. But would your analysis also tally with what the Romanians and the Estonians and the Poles are saying? Because those were Russian drones, according to those countries, and Russian fighter jets. Donald Tusk, the Polish Prime Minister, says his country is closer to war than at any time since the end of World War II.
This is very good, and it comes into this selective use of information and perception. Because if we look at Estonia, was it Estonian airspace or was it international airspace alongside Estonia? And there is, I would say, I mean, Russia conducts these military flights along the Estonian border. I mean, it's got its psychological intentions, but it's not a violation of Estonian airspace. And I've also seen different reports which state this, that it was not Estonian airspace, but international airspace alongside the Estonian border. Now, coming to Poland, well, this is what Donald Tusk spoke of, but if you listen to the Polish president, he's saying something very different, and he's not alone, because the Russians were in direct contact with the Polish MOD, Ministry of Defense, and talked about this. They said, if you want the flight data, we've got it for you, but the range where those drones were is out of range of these type of drones. And there have been a number of sources, including this former SBU, this former Ukrainian intelligence officer, said this is a false flag, that these drones were Russian drones, the decoy drones, but they've been capturing them because there's been so many drones going across Ukraine that a sufficient number have come down intact.
In any case, I cannot reject in any way that it could be Russia. We have seen drones over Poland that should not have been there. We have seen activity in Romania. We have seen violations of Estonian airspace. We have seen hacker attacks at European airports over the weekend, and now there have been drones in Denmark, and it seems that there have been drones in Oslo and in Norway as well. So therefore, I cannot say anything else than that this is, in my eyes, a serious attack on Danish critical infrastructure.
According to the Danish police, the airport's airspace was closed after 2 to 3 unidentified drones were seen flying in the area. As a result, 50 flights were diverted to alternate airports. Danish police said that drones which shut the country's main airport appeared to have been flown by a capable operator seeking to demonstrate certain abilities, adding that no suspects had been identified.
Hours later, Norway reported a similar incident when a drone was spotted over Oslo Gardermoen Airport. The airport confirmed that flight operations were impacted due to the drone sighting.
Officials also said that Oslo Airport diverted flights late on Monday and shut its airspace due to a drone sighting. According to reports, 2 people were arrested for illegally flying drones in central Oslo. Drone sightings at airports in Copenhagen and Oslo come just days after a Europe-wide cyber attack disrupted flight operations at London's Heathrow, Berlin's Brandenburg, and the Brussels airport.
There is this meeting they've called that's going to be sort of a source described as the Squid Games for generals. He's ordering hundreds of his top officers to come to a serious meeting on Tuesday in Virginia. No one, not even the generals, know what it's about. They're being summoned from all over the world. It's expected to take place at the military installation in Quantico.
That's the problem. They watch too much
You
programming.
act like this is a bad thing. Isn't it nice that people are coming from all over the world to be with us?
It's not particularly unusual that generals who report to the Secretary of War and then to the President of the United States are coming to speak with the Secretary of War. It's actually not unusual at all, and I think it's odd that you guys have made it into such a big story.
As a former spokesperson for defense, if someone asked you, this seems like something, would you say not really a story?
I wouldn't. I'd probably also get laced for saying something like that to the press. Look, this meeting that Hegseth has called is incredibly unusual. He's summoning basically 800 general and flag officers, from all over the world, from their combatant commands to the services, to come into Quantico with their staff too. So you're looking at upwards of 1,000 people coming in for a meeting that no one knows what it's about. And
also, don't they have stuff to do? I hate to be a goose, but like it feels like we're pulling them from actual security.
Priority theater of the Indo-Pacific. We're pulling, Admiral Paparo, who is, even if this administration doesn't think that China is a threat, there are many people in Congress and in the United States that do feel that China is certainly our challenge. And so to pull not only the admiral who oversees that combatant command, but his deputy commander as well, along with other members of his staff, to come to the United States. I mean, that sends an incredible message to our allies that we do not have the person in charge there. But on the other hand, too, who is going to be in charge of these combatant commands all around the world that are facing tremendous challenges?
And then there's the conversation I think we can say confidently Hegseth is fundamentally reshaping the top brass of the military. It's something he's always wanted to do. Back in May, cut 20% of 4-star generals. He also fired the Navy's top officer, Admiral Franchetti, fired the Air Force's second-ranking officer, and fired the military's top lawyers who, of course, enforce accountability, court-martials, engagement in war. I want to play for you guys something that Hegseth said when he was nominated to be defense secretary.
She looks crazy.
You have made statements to your platoon after being briefed by a JAG officer. Well, by the way, would you explain what a JAG-off is?
It would be a JAG officer who puts his or her own priorities in front of the warfighters. Their promotions, their medals, in front of having the backs of those who are making the tough calls on the front lines.
Can we talk about sort of his position on this? Because obviously critics are like, you're getting rid of checks and balances.
Well, sure. I mean, I think that personnel is policy, as we all know in Washington, D.C., and Pete Hegseth wants to make sure that those generals are aligned. I don't have any insights into what the meeting what will happen on Tuesday.
What are the security risks of having such a large gathering of generals and pulling people from all corners of the globe?
Are you kidding me? Shut up.
Yeah, I mean, it's highly unusual, and one of the reasons it is unusual is that when you're pooling this much leadership, this much talent in one place, it at least raises the concern. What if something were to happen? There's also the secondary concern, which is just from a pragmatic point of view. The Pentagon has highly sensitive video teleconferencing ability. They hold meetings all the time virtually. They are constantly connecting on what they call VTCs. So that there's really no sense for why you would need everybody in person when they can conduct sensitive business regularly
No,
over video
it's
calls.
very different when you meet them in person compared to meeting them through a fucking screen like I'm doing right now. There's a big motherfucking difference. Okay, you could tell who's who, what's what a lot better in person, and especially when you shake their hand, you could tell who they are. And yeah, I think this is a great idea. I think a lot of them should be fired or demoted and have more of the younglings, who are well deserving, start taking over and leading the charge, because like there's things coming up. We got war. We're gonna have war in all fronts. This, like, if it's World War III that we're coming to, we're not just fighting one war. We're not fighting just Russia. You think it's just Russia? Like, no. We're going after Venezuela. We're going after the drugs. We're going after Iran. Oh shit, he said Iran? Yes. They have to finish the job. That job is still incomplete. They need to go back and they need to drop the hammer. That's what they should call it. They say, yo, Rick's called the next mission. What's that? Drop the motherfucking hammer. Hell yeah. That sounds like it should be in a movie. Drop the fucking hammer. Bring the pain. They know what's up. They if they want to put the world to the test, see where we're at, weaponry. There's a lot of futuristic weapons we have. I tell you right now. Russia, like, be careful. Like, that's what probably the aliens are here. They're like these motherfuckers they're at it again. How the fuck we calm them down? Yo, just appear, just show your ship or something. And they're like, they have a still picture. And they, oh my god, look, the aliens are here. Everybody all freaking out. It's like, yeah, they used to call them Foo Fighters. No, go look it up. Check it up on YouTube. Yeah, the fucking aliens. But I don't think it's a bad thing to have all your generals come up and you meet every single one of them. There's like almost like 800 like in total personnel, almost 1,000, people, maybe 1,200 people are coming, right? What a great opportunity to fire like a lot of people. Like, because you're meeting them and you're feeling their energy, and like, nah, you know what do you do again? Oh, I do It's like, nah, but we don't really need that. Like, you're gonna be sent somewhere else, and we'll work out your ranking then. But they need a replenish. Like, they have to downsize, but also replenish in certain areas, and focus on certain areas, especially like the futuristic weapons department and like the high tech weapons as far as like bombs concerned, because they've been. I don't know if I should talk about it because I got people from around the world that listens and watches. Yeah, I noticed. Was it Kazakhstan? Kazakhstan. Somebody's watching me from Kazakhstan. Who though is watching me from Kazakhstan? Yeah, there's someone's watching me from Kazakhstan. So I'm like, you know what? I'm a good psychic, but fuck you. I ain't giving you the information. The United States have a lot of good stuff, but things that they don't want to use. But if it has to use, it could be like the end of the world type of shit. Because everybody's gonna release all their shit. Russia's never really tested their shit, like real world, like to shoot off their missiles from their silos, like the U.S. Because the U.S. have the Minuteman, and that motherfucker better be ready. And if it sparks off any moment in the night, you'll be hearing missiles flying over your house. And you'd be like, what the fuck? And that's the start of something very terribly bad happening to all fronts. Like, everyone's getting hit. Because the U.S. don't have a shield. That's why Trump was pushing for the golden shield, the big beautiful shield. Remember, he was telling us about it during his campaign that he wants to build like a better, bigger, beautiful golden shield to protect us from any weapons or anything from space to hit us, that they can try to protect us with the shield. How come we never had that shield from the get-go? And the only shit we have is our Minimans and some other weapons that we tested. I remember back, I think it was in the 90s, that they tested from California to intercept missiles that were coming in, and it wasn't really accurate. Kept missing the missile. Like they kept not connecting. So we have to depend on that. I hope they've been working on a good system, a good protection system. I think, to be honest with you, the future has always been laser. I know this. Everyone knows this. Like, fuck, the laser. Like, even sharks with lasers. Remember Austin Powers? The fucking sharks with fucking lasers. like the most evil thing. Like, but the most simplest, and yet it generates more power, more strength from the laser. Like, they could have really serious weapons, like futuristic weapons that's just energy. It shoots this pulse of energy, and it just like blows any shit up. Like, yeah. I mean, the future is gonna be wild. It's gonna be wild. Whoever's watching from the future, you guys looking into the past now. You're studying what's been happening. It's been one fucking crazy time, huh? We had like the Charlie Kirk death, and we had like a lot of these trans shooters and all the churches being shot up by the trans people, and like a lot of opposite from the Democrats. Anything the Republicans say, they do the opposite. The train of truth is here. I told you, when that fucking train comes out, look at that. Zoom in, zoom out for the train. That's the train of truth. Damn, it's loud tonight. That's for the future, for the people in the future who are watching. Damn, that train was really loud tonight. But we're heading into very unique times, Like, we have a lot of weird things that are happening in our universe, in our like neck of the woods, that nobody's really paying attention to because we're so distracted with what's happening on Earth, right? And we're so busy with work. We're so busy with fucking life and paying bills and drinking coffee and smoking weed and having sex and all the craziness and all of like every distraction that you could think of that's happening. And we don't pay attention because we're easily distracted. And that's okay. It's called life. And it's good to distract yourself, but you also got to pay attention. And there's a lot of things that are happening. And if you're not like paying attention, it'll catch you by surprise. We're entering really strong. I said from the very beginning, I was like, this year is gonna be fucked up. And it's still I still feel that energy. So we got the holidays coming. I believe this is what I see. I see the draft coming back. I feel like a lot of these kids that are all like juvenile, that they think they did big bad tough, like at age 13, 14 years old, I think you should open up the military schools for them and send them to fucking military school, and you see how sharp they come back. They come back saying, yes, ma'am, no, sir, yes, sir. Like, discipline, and they monitor them too throughout their growth. And 9 out of 10, they end up joining the military. And They come out good men and women that join the military, right? And then you got all these kids breaking into the jewelry store that we saw the story yesterday, where it's like 31 kids, like, and they just were all ski masks. You could tell they're all black. They had crowbars and guns, and they were shooting the weapons too. And like, what the fuck is going on, right? Like, what a unique time in history, right? Where you see this type of shit. I thought you would only see this type of shit in like Grand Theft Auto, right? Because I feel like I'm in a video game, right? Because you guys see me on YouTube, so I'm basically digital. So we're in a fucking video game. We're living the Matrix. That's wild. The real life Matrix. Huh. Go figure. Am I Neo? I don't know. Do I want to be? I don't want to be a main character. I don't know. I don't know. I don't want the attention. But I know it seems weird, but it just seems that way. It feels that way. It feels like everything's like have you noticed, just look at the news, right? Like every day there's a shooting. Every day someone's getting stabbed. Every day everyone don't everybody falls asleep and wake up every day and take a piss, take a shit, brush their teeth, take a shower, get their day started. Like, don't they don't think civilized when they come out of the house and be like, I'm not gonna kill anybody today. Like I thought, people do that, but I guess not. They're like every day someone's killing someone's making a mistake. You got all these kids going crazy. I was like, fuck it, arrest them and put them in military school. That's it. And bring back the draft. And you'll see all those crimes and inner city crimes and crimes all over will drastically drop. Drastically drop. Especially the ones with the street takeovers. Yeah. There's a special place in the military where I will put them. It'll be nice and hot. Put them right in the front lines. Send them all to Iraq. And you'll see the crime come down real quick. Because that's what you hear every day. Like, especially like in California and all around the country. They have like these little takeovers and people just doing very bad, devious things. They don't have no fear. They don't fear God. They don't fear like the consequences when you do bad, the boomerang effect, like I always say. Like, it's not all about like what you practice or what you preach, and these kids are doing bad and bad things are coming to them. And it's so messed up, It's just really messed up times. But I say send them to the fucking military school. If they're fucking 13, 14 years old, they want to act like they're crazy and shooting people, because a lot of them are shooting people. A lot of those little 13-year-olds are going out there and doing the crime. Because the adults know. They're like, listen, we can't get in trouble when we send little Jit. Little Jit, 13 years old, perfect. Give him a gun. He'll be excited to have that, and give him the drugs and have him transport it and sell it and get the money and bring it back. And if he gets caught, he's only 13. Is he going to get in trouble? Yeah. But they'll hold him in juvenile convention and they'll let him out in good behavior after a couple of classes. And then they're back at the street again, doing the same thing. Fuck that. Bring the military school. Trump would love me. Trump's like, I need this motherfucker in my team. I like the way he thinks. I was like, hell yeah. PSF, let me tell you something. Put these little fucking juveniles in fucking military school. They want to act bad, big bad. All right. You don't want to respect? Okay. You're going to learn how to respect real fast. That's not a threat. That's a promise. Go back to the military. Like, oh no. Fucking kids, man. They have it so easy, man. They have technology. That's the shit, right? Because they could communicate with each other. They could gather each other. They could write to each other on their little messages or whatever, Facebook and whatever apps that they use. Ding dong, hello app. I don't know. Um, that's what they do, and that's how they coordinate. And then they get together, and then they create the havoc. And I feel bad for the jewelry store, because that's a lot of jewelry, a lot of gold, and gold is very expensive these days, right? Look at the price of gold. And the ones that I told to invest years ago in the beginning, like 7 years ago, 8 years ago, if you didn't invest in the gold that I told you guys to do, you're kicking yourself in the ass today. Yeah. I told a whole bunch of people, invest in gold, invest in gold. I felt like I was a parrot, like a little parrot. I was like, invest in gold. But I feel bad that store, they just broke in and took all the jewelry, broke the whole display, came in with guns. They were all young, dumb, full of cum. Like, horrible. Horrible, horrible. That, like, it's just so disappointing, right? I'm disappointed. Yeah, there's no fear, there's no structure. These kids, their homes, I'm pretty sure their parents work very hard and they don't know what the fuck their kids are doing because they're not really in their kids' life. And their kids think they can do whatever the fuck they want because they're 16, 15, 14, 17. They think, they do whatever they want. And the parents don't know what they're doing. And they're doing some dirty deeds and coming home and pretending that everything's all good. We need to bring back accountability. We do. That's why I would make the first military school. It'll be Camp Accountability. Oh, Lord. And it won't be an Ernest movie. Remember Ernest? God rest his soul. Oh, man. Such a good movie still. I remember Ernest goes to jail and all. But that's what I feel in my heart that needs to happen. If we're going to get back to how we used to be and back to some kind of like stability, we need some structure, right? And we need to be held accountable for everything, and the kids, they want to act crazy and do whatever, and you must, pay some kind of price, right? But I wouldn't want to put a price tag on it. No. You're going to serve as a young soldier at the age of 13, 14. And you send them to the military school. Remember Maury? Remember when they had the drill sergeant? He used to come out and he used to grill these little bad little boys. And these boys were like crazy. These little boys were so crazy and they were like getting grilled. I think we need to bring that back and have more camps for these type of kids. and they need to be sent there. And we should open a few of those. Man, I wish I could talk to Trump. I was like, Trump, man, this message to you. If you could hook me up with the money, we could build a really cool military school. And what we do is the bad kids and so forth, they have to be there. They have to stay there. It's like a whole, it's like a village, but for the kids and, you know, soldiers, so forth. It's like a kind of like a juvenile detention, but military style. You know what I mean? That's military school. And then every day you got to go to class. You got to you got to go to church. You got to do the prayers. You got to have lunch. Then you have like physical stuff and military school. They are very they'll put you right in your fucking place. That's for damn sure. But let's see what's up with what's going on here. We got any more things to watch? Yes. I'm about to get off here any moment here. What is this one? This is some ice. Okay, let's see this one. What's this one's about? Let me resize it. And then we have make sure I got everything here. All right. All right, let's watch this.
Talk about the shooting that happened at the ICE facility earlier this week out in Dallas. We want to go out right now to Fox 4 Dallas's Sean Robb joining us here with the latest on the investigation that continues to really get national headlines.
Yeah, and today, of course, was the release of video from that federal facility that captured the minute and 22 seconds of terror for the ICE detainees who were in two transport vehicles in the Sallyport area, or the secured area of that ICE processing facility, when gunfire started and the ICE agents were trying to shield them and help get them inside the building. And these detainees were handcuffed and shackled at their ankles. So you can imagine the difficulty in there trying to hurry in. They were crouching and crawling, even some of them literally rolling into the building. We saw that video for the first time today, and we understand the terror, the fear, as well as the courage of those ICE agents, who many of them did not have on protective gear, just polo shirts, and they put themselves in harm's way to protect these detainees. Now, for the investigation itself, well, quiet today in terms of what we heard from the federal government. Nothing from DOJ today, but I can tell you where the investigation is going now. A mound of evidence, physical evidence, right? Handwritten notes on various pieces of paper that explained at least the ire that Joshua Yan held for ICE agents, but how his thinking became twisted, how this root was planted in his heart, we don't know that yet. We don't know where the radical ideas came from, and that is where the investigation goes. Who was he talking to in the days and weeks prior to this? He started planning this in August. So who was he talking to in July?
Check this Discord.
June and May. What sites was he visiting? We know in the days before the shooting, for example, the 23rd and 24th, the day of the shooting, the day before and day of, he had downloaded and repeatedly watched the Charlie Kirk shooting video, which may have given him the impetus to perch on a building and become a sniper rather than on the ground shooting. But right now they want to know who else knew And where did this happen? Did it happen online? Did it happen by things he may have been reading or watching in videos? Even though he took sole responsibility and said he acted alone, they want to make sure of that. And one of the things, I think he was digging at the agents, knowing he wasn't going to survive. He told them in one of his notes, Mike, he says, look, good luck with that digital footprint, suggesting that he had wiped all of his devices. And I'm not talking about deleting social media accounts. I'm talking about wiping email, text messages, call logs in your iPhone, all of that. It was like a factory reset, nothing on the phone. But as you know, the FBI, they do have some techniques and technology to get it back. It's never gone. It's just out of sight.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And Sean, yeah, it seems like this was such a calculated move here by the suspect. And when we heard the information there that he was kept on watching the Charlie Kirk shooting, it almost leads you to believe that maybe that was the catalyst that said, okay, I am going to go through with this maybe.
Well, yeah, and maybe that's what convinced him to go through with it. Not only that, the copycat moments here, not only shooting from a quote-unquote sniper's perch atop a building, but also the Sharpie on the bullet in that Mauser cartridge, anti-ice, the notes that he left behind, all of this. The difference is Tyler Robinson told authorities, or at least told his roommate, that he had planned this for about a week. We know that Joshua Yon planned this for months. We know that because it was in August when he purchased the weapon. Sometimes later, he went to the Dallas County Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness website, downloading public information about the addresses of DHS facilities. My guess is now that's being wiped off all Department of Homeland Security websites across the country. That won't be public any longer. All of that, way before this event. Driving down at 3 a.m. under the cover of darkness in his Toyota Corolla with a ladder on the roof. And of course, it's early in the week, it's late at night or very early morning, little or no traffic coming down Central Expressway from Fairview to downtown at that time. Probably wasn't spotted. And if he was seen by people, nobody thought twice about it. He certainly was captured on video driving down, which means he sat there on that roof at least 2.5 hours, 3 hours, waiting for the moment where he thought he would be able to, wreak havoc, maximum lethality. That's a quote from one of his handwritten notes on ICE agents. And he opened fire. The irony of it all, Mike, not a single agent was struck. But as you know, 3 detainees, 1 person dead. I can tell you another is very, very, very low sick. We were able to have his brother on Fox 4 News earlier today, and he described being low sick. His brother's low sick, so much so that the medical staff want to, in fact, take him off of life support.
Yeah, that is very troubling all the way around when you look at this attack that's happened earlier this week. Sean, thanks so much for joining us on Live Now from Fox. What I'm going to do now for the viewers, I'm going to play out your update that you just had on for Fox 4 Dallas. We'll play that out. And again, thank you so much for giving us your update and analysis here on this story.
Always love to be with you, friend.
Thank you so much. All right, everyone, let's play out Sean Robb's story that just aired on Fox 4 Dallas. Let's listen in.
And it seems from his writings that his ideology was incredibly anti-ICE.
Former FBI counterintelligence counterterrorism operative Eric O'Neill. Joshua Yon's writings, he says, reveals his ideology. While we don't know where the idea came from, O'Neill says he accomplished what he intended.
And make sure that ICE agents all around the country now are going to be worried for their safety every morning they go to work and concerned whether they're going to make it home to their families. In that, this shooter has succeeded.
Even though he shot people in ICE custody, not the federal agents, when he opened fire on transport vans and the ICE processing facility.
One of these notes or papers, the sniper explicitly states, yes, it was just me. That statement appears to be correct at this point in the investigation.
Agents have found no connection, loosely or otherwise, to any organized group. Joshua Yan's LinkedIn account, benign, showing 6 different jobs since 2013, none longer than 8 months. He attended UT Dallas for 1 year, Collin College, 2 years. O'Neill says, while there yet appears to be nothing, he was influenced on his own or by others.
And then is radicalized by these different groups or by research that they're doing on their own that draws the conclusions that are counter to society, then they can become very dangerous on their own, even if a group doesn't recruit them.
In yet another note, the U.S. Attorney said Yan reiterated it was just him and his brain responsible.
And he said, good luck with the digital footprint. And of course, we take this to mean that he deleted evidence from his devices.
O'Neill says it may be deleted, but has not disappeared.
Well, it's very difficult to burn your digital footprint. People think that they can, and you really can't.
Yeah.
The FBI can work in different ways to restore it. They will go to companies that he has been chatting on and ask them for the records. Nothing really is ever deleted on the internet.
Once Yan's emails, text messages, call logs, social media apps are restored, agents will be reaching out to everyone who knew him.
That will be the focus of the investigation right now. We learned a lot about why he did it. Now we want to know if he had help. And if he did have help, then there could be other arrests.
John Robb reporting on this deadly shooting. I want to show you now. Federal officials releasing the surveillance video of Wednesday's shooting at a Dallas ICE facility. Running for cover inside and outside the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Field Office in Dallas as the gunman showered bullets landing inside and outside the facility. Just take a look there as they are crawling out, still handcuffed and trying to save themselves. 3 people were shot, 1 died, and the gunman then turned the gun on himself. Just yesterday, law enforcement said they found notes in his home showing a hatred of the federal government and a desire to cause immigration agents real terror. The matter remains under investigation.
Crazy. Let's continue.
States back in Illinois, again, protesters once again escalating with law enforcement at the Broadview ICE facility right outside of Chicago today. And take a look here at some of the video that we were able to obtain. And you can just see once again clashes happening right outside of that facility. There are signs, abolish ICE, and so much more. And again, just the more of this escalation that we have been seeing. And if you remember, just last week, we saw in the evening hours a lot of aggression by the protesters as well as law enforcement right outside of that facility. And for more on this, I'm going to go out now to Fox 32 Chicago's Casey Cronus. We talked last Friday, and now we're back at it again, Casey, with more on this developing situation out there in Broadview.
Hi, Mike. That's right. And you know, things are much calmer this afternoon compared to last Friday afternoon. Tensions did escalate, as you mentioned, this morning, with 2 people arrested outside of the ICE processing facility here in Broadview. I'll step out of the way so you can take a look at what is happening right now. There are probably only about 24 protesters out here. Honestly, there are more members of the media and security than there are demonstrators right now. Some of those protesters are near the fence that was put up earlier this week by ICE officials. But right now, no ICE agents outside on the roof or on the ground that we can see. Some of these demonstrators are doing some shouting right now, but no real response or reaction just yet from those ICE agents. Now, new this afternoon, Broadview Mayor Katrina Thompson released the letter that she sent to the DHS Field Office Director Russell Hott. In it, she wrote that this neighborhood is under siege and that the relentless deployment of tear gas, pepper spray, mace, and rubber bullets not only is harming residents, but also Broadview police officers and firefighters. She is demanding that the additional fencing come down. And this afternoon, again, things are calmer out here, but earlier tensions flared. One woman who was leaving messages tied with ribbon onto the fence explains.
Pepper bullets, the residue that comes up makes it incredibly difficult to breathe. Was coughing profusely, had to rinse my mouth. We had a nurse on site that saw me and made sure that I was okay. There was nothing provoked on our side. From as far as I know, the three of us were literally signing on the fence, and we were the direct targets of the shooting. We looked up at the ICE agent, who seemed very amused with himself for what he had just done.
Yeah, you
now, we
can
have
really see
learned
his
also this
amusement.
afternoon from the National Lawyers Guild of Chicago
They're
that
not showing
between
his
last
face.
Friday and this Friday, there have been 16 demonstrator arrests outside of this ICE facility. That includes those 2 people today. The lawyer I talked with said that most of those people are being released with citations and pending court dates. It's unclear what will happen with those court dates and if charges will come later. Mike?
And Casey, how would you compare it to last year at this time? You said earlier that there's more media members there now than there has been, but with the amount of protesters that there was last week compared to now, I mean, how much is it a difference right now?
You know, the numbers have significantly decreased at this hour compared to this hour last Friday. Again, there were much more people here earlier this morning, but after that tear gas was deployed, the crowd sort of dispersed. It really does blow through the air and it does burn the throat, the eyes, the nose. So that sent a lot of people home. Now, time will tell just how many people gather here this evening, because last Friday we saw a little bit of a lull midday, but things picked back up around 9 o'clock.
Casey Cronin with Fox 32 in Chicago. We always appreciate the updates. Stay safe to you and your crew. We thank you again right here on Live Now from Fox. All right, we want to continue to really just showcase more of the tensions that have been happening. Take a look at this as demonstrators and federal agents clashed during a protest outside a U.S. Immigration and Custom Enforcement ICE processing center in suburban Chicago today. Take a look at the video there of the protesters pushing on this vehicle. Footage shows protesters, including congressional candidate Kat Abaguzla, attempting to block a vehicle from entering the facility gates in Broadview, Illinois. Agents reportedly fired pepper balls and deployed tear gas canisters to disperse the crowd at the Broadview ICE facility. An agent tried to run dozens of protesters off with an SUV as we walked on a public crosswalk. At least 2 protesters were detained, according to local reports. Protesters have been gathering outside the facility weekly since the Trump administration announced that it would be increasing immigration enforcement throughout Illinois on September 8th. And take a look. I just want to, again, just show you just more of the tensions that have been continuing to fly once again. We were really showcasing some of the video from last week that was really ramping up in the evening hours. But this video just recorded earlier today shows demonstrators and federal agents clashing during a protest outside the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement ICE processing center. And you just see just the give and take from protesters and the federal officials. Footage recorded by Brendan shows agents firing pepper balls, deploying tear gas canisters, and detaining several people outside the facility in Broadview, Illinois. Let's just raise the volume here so you could get a set. Okay, so we're learning no volume here, but we just wanted to again showcase just a little bit of more of the video you could see of these canisters and pepper balls being deployed
in jail.
And it was quite the scene in Broadview earlier today. Of course, we always got you covered on Live Now from Fox, but again, we will keep an eye on what might happen later this evening in Broadview, Illinois. If we do get some new details, we will pass that along to you right here on Live Now.
That's crazy. All right, let's go and watch the last show of the night, and that's Tyson De La Cruz.
A manhunt by the federal government, now with a $15 million reward for his capture.
America, we're witnessing the rise of the most dangerous drug lord in the world, and his coca empire is flooding our streets while the Mexican government cowers in fear. Nemesio El Mencho Azaguera has transformed the Jalisco New Generation cartel into a military force so powerful that they openly threaten Mexican presidents and control 27 of Mexico's 32 states. But here's what should terrify every American parent. While everyone focuses on the fentanyl crisis, coca use has quietly surged across the United States, and El Mencho's cartel is now the primary supplier. This isn't just drug trafficking, this is a narco state operating with impunity while American communities pay the price.
U.S. drug officials say El Mencho is the most powerful drug trafficker operating in the world. Cocaine sold in the U.S. is now cheaper and purer than ever for retail buyers.
What is up, guys? Tyson De La Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. This story exposes how one man built a criminal empire so powerful that it threatens both Mexican sovereignty and American public safety. Let me break down the coca crisis that's been building while everybody was focused on fentanyl. Since 2019, coca consumption in the western United States has exploded by 154%, while the eastern part of the country has seen a 19% increase. We're talking about approximately 5.2 million Americans who reported using coca in the past year.
Law enforcement says it's not a coincidence. They believe cartels are turning back to an old business model, and some call it the return of the cocaine cowboys.
But here's what makes this surge so dangerous. Coca sold in America now cheaper and purer than ever before. When drug prices drop while purity increases, that tells you one thing. There's a massive oversupply flooding into our country. Someone has perfected the supply chain from Southern America to American streets. The timing isn't coincidental. As the Trump administration cracked down on fentanyl trafficking, cartel pivoted to coca because it carries less stigma for new users. People who would never touch Fenty are willing to try coca, creating a new customer base for these criminal organizations.
Just in the last few weeks, cocaine has surfaced across South Texas highways.
I was just talking to Tyson about this, and then he did a video about it. That's so cool.
Now let's talk about the man behind this coca empire. Nemesio El Mencha Azaguera didn't start as a drug lord. He grew up poor, selling avocados in rural Mexico, but this guy had an ambition and absolutely no moral boundaries. El Mencho began his career with the Sinaloa cartel, learning the drug trade from the ground up. But when El Chapo got arrested in 2016, instead of fighting for scraps of the Sinaloa empire, El Mencho saw a bigger opportunity to build something bigger and more violent. He founded the Jalisco New Generation cartel, CJNG, and used extreme violence to carve out the territory. El Mencho was smarter than the previous cartel leaders. Instead of just fighting other cartels, he systematically targeted government officials, police commanders, and anyone that stood in his way. This guy turned drug trafficking into military operations. His cartel operates like a parallel government, complete with intelligence networks, military-grade weapons, and territorial control that rivals Mexican state itself.
With the Sinaloa cartel shattered by infighting and bloodshed, Jalisco sees the throne as the world's deadliest drug powerhouse.
Now here's how El Mencho built the most efficient coca trafficking operation in history. His cartel transports the addictive powder by the ton from Colombia to Ecuador, then north to Mexico's Pacific coast, using speedboats and narco submarines.
For any information leading up to the arrest of cartel kingpin El Mencho, up to $15 million from the original $10 million. El Mencho is known for transforming the cartel de Jalisco Nueva Generación.
But what makes El Mencho different is his business model. While other cartels focus on one or two drugs, the CJNG diversified into coca, methamphetamine, heroin, and fentanyl. They're like the Amazon of drug trafficking. They'll deliver whatever Americans want to buy. The cartel has also expanded beyond drugs into extortion, kidnapping, illegal mining, and fuel theft. They tax legitimate businesses like tortillas, chicken, cigarettes, and beer in territories that they control. This isn't just a drug cartel. It's a criminal government that generates revenue from every aspect of economic life.
El Mencho is known for transforming the cartel de Jalisco Nueva Generación, or the CJNG, into the world's most violent and powerful cartels in Mexico, now rivaling the Sinaloa cartel.
El Mencho operates what can only be described as a military military compound in the Sierra Madre Mountains. The United States has a $15 million bounty on his head, but he's essentially untouchable in the mountain stronghold.
The United States has a $15 million bounty on Oseguera, but he rarely leaves his hideout in the heart of Sierra Madre, a mountain range in Mexico.
Here's how protected this guy is. Visitors to his compound are hooded before beginning a 6-hour drive through the terrain that's literally littered with landmines. Locations of these pressure-activated explosives are known only to members of El Mencho's inner circle. His personal security force, called the Special Force of High Command, are equipped with RPG-7 heat-seeking shoulder-fired rocket launchers capable of penetrating tanks. We're talking about military-grade weapons that most armies don't even have. This isn't just a drug dealer hiding from police. This is a warlord who built a fortress that would challenge most military forces. And the Mexican government can't touch him, and he knows it. But here's what makes El Mencho truly dangerous. He doesn't avoid the government. He actively intimidates and controls it. CJNG has been responsible for the deaths of over 130 political candidates in a single election cycle. Think about that. They're literally murdering people who want to run for office.
I love the people of Mexico. And the people of Mexico are good friends. But isn't a big part of the problem that President Lopez Obrador and now President Sheinbaum, thank you for correcting me, by the way, live in the right front pocket of the Mexican drug cartels?
The cartel uses public executions, narco-threatening banners to send messages to government officials. They're explicitly threatening Mexican presidents, security chiefs, and anyone who dares to challenge their authority. In territories under CJNG control, El Mencho organizes functions as a real government. They collect taxes, settle disputes, and provide security, all while the official Mexican government pretends to be in charge. This creates a situation where Mexican officials have to choose between cooperating with cartels or risking assassination. Most choose cooperation, which means El Mencho effectively controls large portions of Mexico through fear and violence. While El Mencho builds his narco empire in Mexico, American communities are paying the price. The surge in coca use isn't just about addiction. It's about violence and crime that follows drug trafficking networks into our neighborhoods.
The cartel has profited from the flow of migrants heading to the U.S., charging each one thousands of dollars to cross through its controlled territory.
The CJNG doesn't just smuggle drugs. They control human trafficking routes and charge migrants thousands of dollars to cross their territory. They're making money off the immigration crisis while flooding our communities with drugs. The cartel has also been running a call center that scams American seniors out of hundreds of millions of dollars. So while El Mencho's coca floods our streets, his organization is also stealing from our elderly through sophisticated fraud operations. Here's what makes this situation so dangerous for America. El Mencho got lucky with timing. The Trump administration's focus on immigration enforcement has diverted federal agents from drug trafficking efforts. In Arizona, 2 customs and border protection checkpoints along a key fentanyl smuggling route have been left unstaffed because officers were reassigned to process detained migrants. This creates an opportunity for the CJNG to expand their coca trafficking operations. But here's the bigger picture. While we've been focusing on border security and immigration, El Mencho has been building a criminal empire that threatens both Mexican stability and American public safety. His organization now operates at least 27 of 32 Mexico states and has international reach. America, El Mencho represents everything wrong with how we've approached the drug war. While we focus on arresting street dealers and small-time traffickers, this guy built a military empire that now controls more territory than some countries. The surge in coca use across America isn't happening by accident. It's the result of a sophisticated supply chain managed by the world's most powerful drug trafficking organization. El Mencho has turned drug trafficking into a military operation with government-level resources and territorial control. The fact that he operates from a mountain forest protected by landmines and rocket launchers, while the Mexican government does nothing, shows you the complete failure of the approach to the cartel violence. We're not dealing with criminals anymore. We're dealing with warlords who control territories and intimidate governments. The message to the Mexican government is simple. You've lost control of your country to a drug lord who threatens your officials and taxes your citizens. Either you deal with El Mencho or he'll continue expanding his empire while American communities suffer the consequences. El Mencho has built the most powerful drug trafficking empire in history, and he's using it to flood America with coca while intimidating the Mexican government into submission. This isn't just a drug problem. It's a national security threat that requires immediate action. Let me know what you guys think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.
Thank you very much. Upload there. Train of Truth came out too when Tyson was talking. It's like, I was just talking to Tyson about this, about the war on drugs and to cut all drugs coming out of South America. I was just talking to him about this, and he had done a video on this, and he said, I'm pretty sure he's like, how the fuck you know? You know all this stuff. Like, the video hasn't even posted yet, and you know already. It's like, no, I know. It's just the war on drugs is very important, and they got to cut at the source. Another Train of Truth is here. It's a busy night tonight with the trains. But I gotta get going because I'm tired. So I'll be back here tomorrow. We'll do this all over again, and we'll have fun. It's Saturday. We're the weekend. I gotta go to the farmer's market in the morning, so I gotta pick up some corn and some potatoes and some stuff, whatever I find at the farmer's market that I think I can put together something really good. Yeah. I'm achy. My body's achy. I'm not feeling good. So you guys have a good night, because I'm already feeling, and I took my medicine and I'm really feeling even more achier. I don't know if it's because of the medicine or if it's because the weather has just been all over the place. So my body's like really sensitive. Lately it's been too sensitive with the weather. But all right, enough about me. Have a good morning, good afternoon, and a good night, and I'll catch y'all on the flip side. And I'll be back here tomorrow to do it all over again. And let's see, I'm not sure what time I'll start tomorrow. I don't think I'm gonna do an early show, but I don't know yet. Probably not, because I'm gonna do the farmer's market and I got things to do. Plus it's the weekend, so you guys can just hang out and go to sleep. All right, guys. Have a good weekend and stay safe and watch your backs. Peace.